Hello everyone. In today's Cretaceous profile remake, I'm going to be doing this. The famous Spinosaurid that went through a lot of changes over the years, decades. And that is Spinosaurus. It's a genus of Spinosaurid dinosaur that lived in what is now North Africa during the Cenomanian and two Upper Tourian stages of the late Cretaceous, about 99 to 93.5 million years ago, meaning Spinosaurus has never met T-Rex, Giga, Hadrosaurs, Ankylosaurs, and Sarcosuchus. In 1912, Richard Margraf discovered a partial skeleton of a giant theropod dinosaur in Bahariya Formation of western Egypt. In 1914, German paleontologist Ernest Stromer published an article assigning this specimen to a new genus and species, Spinosaurus aegypticus. Back in those times, there were two species of Spinosaurus. One was named Spinosaurus aegypticus, and the other Spinosaurus moroccensis. It was first described remains of Spinosaurus were found and described in the early 20th century. Fragmentary additional remains from Bahariya, including vertebrate and hind limb bones, were designated by Stromer as Spinosaurus B in 1934. Stromer considered them different enough to belong to another species, and this had borne out with advantages of more expeditions and material. It appears that they pertain either to Carcharodontosaurus or to Sudromastosaurus. S. moroccensis was originally described by Dale Russell in 1996 as a new species based on the length of its neck vertebra. Specifically, Russell claimed that the ratio of the length of the centrum body of vertebrae to height of the posterior ulterior feet was 1.1 inches S. aegypticus and 1.5 inches S. moroccensis. Latter authors have been split on this topic. Some authors noted that the length of the vertebrate can vary from individuals to individual, that the holotype specimen was destroyed and thus cannot be compared directly with S. moroccensis specimen, and that it is unknown which cervical vertebrate of the S. moroccensis represent. Therefore, though some have retained the species as valid without much comment, most researchers regard S. moroccensis as a dubious name or as a junior synonym of S. aegypticus. Fortunately, the original Spinosaurus specimen was destroyed in World War II, specifically during the night of 25 24-25 April 1944 in a British bombing raid of Munich that severely damaged the building housing the Palästinensische Museum München. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing it in German. Sorry about that. However, detailed drawings and description of the specimen remain. Stromer's son donated Stromer's archives to the. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. In 1995, and Smith and colleagues analyzed 2 photographs of the Spinosaurus holotype specimen, BSP 1912, VII 19, discovered in the archives in the year 2000. On the basis of a photograph of a lower jaw and a photograph of the entire specimen as mounted, Smith concluded that Stromer's original 1915 drawings were slightly inaccurate. In 2003, Oliver Rahut suggested that Stromer's Spinosaurus holotype was a chimera composed of vertebrate and neural spines from a Carcharodontosaurus similar to Acrocanthosaurus, and dentary from Baryonyx or Suchomimus. The analysis was rejected in at least one subsequent paper. NMC 50791, held by the Canadian Museum of Nature, is a mid-cervical vertebrate which is 19.5 centimeters, 7.7 inches long from the Kemkem beds of Morocco. It is the holotype of Spinosaurus moroccensis as described by Russell in 1996. Other specimens referred to as moroccensis in the same paper were 2 other mid-cervical vertebrae, NMC 41768 and NMC 50790 in an anterior dentary fragment, NMC 50832 a mid-dentary fragment, NMC 50833 and an anterior dorsoneural arch, NMC 50813. Russell stated that only general locality information could be provided for the specimen and therefore it could be dated only possibly to the Albian age. MNHN SAM 124, housed at a Museum National Disputationnel, is a snout consisting of partial premaxilla and partial maxillae, formers, and a dentary fragment, described by Tieke and Russell in 1998. The specimen is 13.4 to 13.6 centimeters, 5.3 to 5.4 inches in width. No length was stated. The specimen was located in Algeria and is of Albion age. Tieke and Russell believed that the specimen, along with a premaxilla fragment, SAM 125, 2 cervical vertebrate, SAM 126 and 127, and a dorsal neural arch. SAM 128 belonged to S. moroccensis. Material possibly belonging to Spinosaurus has been reported from Turkana grits of Kenya. Some scientists have considered the genus Suchomastosaurus a junior synonym of Spinosaurus. In Ibrahim and colleagues, 2014, the specimen of Suchomastosaurus was referred to as Spinosaurus ejecticus together with Spinosaurus B as the neotype, and Spinosaurus moroccensis was considered as a dubious. Following the conclusion of the other papers, a 2015 redescription of Suchomastosaurus disputed these conclusions and considered the genus valid. This conclusion was further supported in 2018 by Arden and colleagues, who consider Suchomastosaurus to be a distant genus, though are very close relatives of Spinosaurus. The two unfiled in the tribe Spinosaurini coined in the study. In a 2020 paper in assessing Spinosaurines specimen from Kemkem group, suggested that the Brazilian Spinosaurine oxalate to be a potential junior synonym of Spinosaurus ejecticus. This was based on looking at the specimen assigned to Oxalea and supported anatomorph of this taxon being insignificant and fall within the hypothetigram of Spinosaurus ejecticus is supported by future studies. This would imply Spinosaurus ejecticus had a wider distribution and supported a faunal exchange between South America and Africa during this time. Additionally, the study further indicates synonymy between Spinosaurus and Suchomosasaurus. Since its discovery, Spinosaurus has been considered for the largest theropod dinosaurs. Both Friedrich von Huch in 1926 and Donald F. Gould in 1982 listed as among the most massive theropods in their surveys at 15 meters 49 feet in length and upwards to 6 metric tons, 6.6 short tons in weight. In 1988, George S. Paul also listed as the longest theropod at 15 meters, 49 feet, but gave a lower mass estimate of 4 metric tons, 4.4 short tons. In 2005, Dao Sasso and colleagues assumed that Spinosaurus and the Spinosaurids, Suchomimus, had the same body proportion in relation to their skull length, and thereby calculated that Spinosaurus was 16 to 18 meters, 52 to 59 feet in length, and 7 to 9 tons, 7.7 and 9.9 short tons in weight. The estimates were criticized because the skull length estimated was uncertain, and assuming that body mass increased as the cube of the body length. Scaling Suchomimus, which was 11 meters, 36 feet long, and 3.8 metric tons, 4.2 short tons in mass, to reach estimated length of Spinosaurus would produce an estimate of 11.7 to 16.7 metric tons, or 12.9 to 18.4 short tons in body mass. Here the size comparison to a human, and the smaller one is the baby Spinosaurus. And there are many specimens of Spinosaurus that are not fully grown because many of them are subadults. But MSNM V4047 is much larger because this one's a fully grown adult individual. In 2007, a paper using scaling based on skull length challenged previous estimates of the size Spinosaurus, finding the length too great and weighing too small, based on estimated skull lengths of 1.5 to 7.75 meters, 4.9 to 5.7 feet. Their estimates included a body length of 12.6 to 14.3 meters, 41 to 47 feet, and the body mass of 12 to 20.9 metric tons, 13.2 to 23.0 short tons. The lower estimate for Spinosaurus would imply that the animal was shorter and lighter, the Carcharodontosaurus and Giganotosaurus. The study has been criticized for the choice of theropods used for comparison. Most of the theropods used to set interior equation were tyrannosaurids and carnosaurs, which have a different build than Spinosaurids, and for assumption that Spinosaurus' skull could be a little as 1.5 meters, 4.9 feet in length. And for its function of its spines, it's not known what they're used for. Some say for thermoregulation or for display to attract mates, like what peacocks do. It is unclear whether Spinosaurus was primarily a terrestrial predator or a piscivore, as indicated by its elongated jaws and conical teeth and raised nostrils. The hypothesis of Spinosaurus as specialized fish eaters has been suggested before. For baryonyx, they based on this anatomical similarities with crocodilians and the presence of digestive acid in trays, fish scales, in the rib cage of the type specimen. The largest fish are known from faunas containing other spinosaurids, including Mawsonia in the mid-Cretaceous of northern Africa and Brazil. But there are direct evidence for Spinosaur diet comes from related European and South American taxon. Like, for example, baryonyx was found with fish scales and bones from juvenile iguanodon in its stomach, while the tooth embedded in a South American pterosaur bone suggests that Spinosaurs occasionally prey on pterosaurs. But Spinosaurus was likely to have been a generalized and opportunistic predator, possibly a Cretaceous equivalent of a large grizzly bear's, being biased toward fishing, though it undoubtedly scavenged and took many kinds of small to medium-sized prey. It means that Spinosaurs occasionally do eat meat of iguanodonts, pterosaurs. In 2009, a CT scan of a Spinosaurus snout at the front has holes just like those of crocodilians. They speculate that Spinosaurus has pressure sensors inside the space allow it to hold its snout at the surface of the water to detect swimming prey species without seeing them. In 2022, the bite force of Spinosaurus is estimated of 4,829 newtons, and the posterior bite force of 11,936 newtons, based on this estimate, asserted that the jaws of Spinosaurus are adapted for generating relatively faster shutting speeds with less muscle input force, indicating that the animal likely killed its prey with fast snapping jaws rather than slow crushing bites, a trait commonly observed in animals which have a semi-aquatic feeding habit. The environment inhabited by Spinosaurus is only partly understood and covers a great deal of what is now Northern Africa, the region of the African Spinosaurus is preserved and dates from 112 to 93.5 million years ago. Although a potential specimen has been found in Campanian deposits, but we simply possess no evidence if the Spinosaurus ever reached the Campanian age. A 1996 study concluded from Moroccan fossils that Spinosaurus, Cretaceous, and Deltrodromeus ranged across North Africa during the late Cretaceous. Of the Cenomanian, those Spinosaurs that lived in Bahariya Formation of what is now Egypt may have contained with shoreline conditions on tidal flats and channels, living in mangrove forests alongside similarly large dinosaurians, predators, Bahariasaurus and Cretaceous, the titanosaurs like Polarotitan and Egyptosuchus, crocodilian morphs, bony and cartilaginous fish, turtles, lizards, and plesiosaurs. Now, Cretaceous and Spinosaurs, well, they mainly avoided each other. But when it comes to a carcass, either contested or intimidation. In the dry season, it may have resorted to preying on pterosaurs. This situation resembles that in the late Jurassic Morrison Formation of North America, which boasts up to 5 theropod genera over 1 metric ton, 1.1 short tons in weight, as well as several smaller genera. Differences in head shape and body size among the large North African theropods may have been enough to allow niche partitioning as seen among the many different predator species found today in the African savanna. Unfortunately, Spinosaurus was the last Spinosaur to reach the Terrarian age. It's not known what caused its extinction. Climate change, or being outcompeted, or the disappearance of its prey. And that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you later, guys.